So that's important. And I love what you said. This too shall pass, people. It's not permanent. Whatever's going on. This is Ken D. Foster, your host, and my guest today is JP Dallmann. He's an award-winning, nominated sustainable and impact investing advisor. He's an advocate. He's a thought leader. And with over 20 years experience in the financial service industry, he's served as a banking executive and advisor at major institutions, such as the Royal Bank of Scotland, and so much more. I'll be telling you a lot more about JP. JP, welcome to the show, man. So glad to have you.
Hey, Ken. The pleasure is mine. So happy and so grateful that you invited me.
So I have a question for you. Could you hear me on the first segment, or was that muted?
I think it was muted, Ken.
Okay, well, I guess I'll redo that segment then. Okay. Listen, it's wonderful to have you here today, JP. You and I met each other on Clubhouse. I read your bio. I read what you were up to. I saw you had a lot of people following you. I thought, when people do that, I always think to myself, well, who is this man? Who is this person? What would you say let me just ask you, why'd you get into financial service business?
Good question to start with. And if I am completely honest, initially was I didn't realize until a long time after that was because I actually had a vision of what my life could be in the future. Interesting, you mentioned something like that in before the conversation started as part of your intro trail. And then, as I was at university at the time, obviously I was looking at the different options, what was out there, and I was I studied business and finance and economics and accountancy, so it was kind of the natural thing to do. But I did have this fascination for investment banking, and obviously there was a monetary reason behind it. Initially as I was younger, I was maybe more driven by financials and financial gain than later in my life.
Well, I love that. A lot of people are making poor investment decisions today. I know that. A lot of people do that over the years, but I think maybe even today more than ever because of information overload. They just get too much information. What's your hit on that?
Well, it's interesting. It's one of the reasons I wrote this short paper that is available for people to access if they want. Which the first one of the points of the reasons why I say people don't have, they don't create the profits and the impact that they want is because of this information overload. You mentioned at the beginning that I am a sustainable and impact investment specialist, or that's kind of what the business ILA Partners we do. We help in the transition of capital into sustainable impact investing. But the one thing that is across everyone that we talk to is the fact that they don't know what is what from the beginning in terms of the concepts to then actually the products and the specifics. Where they can allocate their money.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So. With the paper that you've written, let's just talk about that a little bit. So you wrote that. What's the title of it, first of all?
It's very simple. I just and it's very interesting. You mentioned Clubhouse before. Clubhouse really inspired me as well because you meet so many people, and I know, as you can imagine, I relate to people at every level, of walks of life and different sectors and different professions. And it just comes across like the same thing. People keep asking me, they are confused. They don't know what actually investment means. Let's not even talk about financial intelligence, which is another level of the conversation. But just to begin with, I could see people just really struggling. And you mentioned that I have a lot of followers, and it comes from really showing up and trying to help people. Education, I realize, is one of, if not actually the top driver for me in terms of, if you think about SDGs, and I'm wearing this little pin, if people, see the live on Facebook, it's about the United Nations global goals. And number 4, goal number 4 is about education. And I tried to, once I realized that how much I care about it, I thought, well, I had to do something about it. So this thought leadership, sorry, that you mentioned before, is driven by that. I'm trying to share knowledge, share education. I saw you just wrote the book, to help people, set goals and set intentions and take action, but they need to understand what to do. And I realized that in life, you don't get, aside from the Bible, there is no manual to, how to live life, right? How to best do things. So we need to help each other.
We do need to help each other. And, one of the things that drew me to you, JP, was that you are a sustainable and impact investor. You look for companies that are not necessarily just a for-profit company. You're looking for companies that are actually making a difference in the world and creating a better place. Can you talk about that a little bit, and maybe some of the companies that you've had some success with over the years?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So basically, what I talk about is I am a for-profit guy. I always say that, and I have no shame whatsoever in saying that, because that's where the sustainability part comes into place. If you want to create a model that is sustainable over time, it needs to be self-funded, and that's kind of where maybe I can link it then, to impact investment. And this is what is called, I talk a lot about the spectrum of capital. So there's different levels of different types of investors, from those that just look for profit to those that look for profit and impact. And then at the other side of the spectrum, you have philanthropy, and then right at the end, maybe charity, right, and donations, etc. So I am, focusing on where we can create profit and impact, right? So some people talk about private markets, and there's different type of asset classes as well that you may listen to people speak about. And then what we are focusing on as well, based on my 20 plus years in finance and investment banking and global banking, is try to leverage the network, the connections, the understanding of how this work, coupled with the startup world as well, and the innovation side and the tech for good, right? So we've been testing, and we've been, from one part, we work with investment management firms, quite, big ones with ILA Partners. We have a specific, soft spot for LATAM, having been born in Latin America myself. And then we're looking all the time for now what I call the unicorns of impact. So those companies that, we can fund, and we can find solutions that we can scale to help more people. So
I really love that.
Yeah.
When I come back, I want to ask you a little bit about the cryptocurrency, what's going on there, and how if you're investing in that, and also about SDGs and some of the little technical things. So we'll be right back, and we'll take a deep dive in that.
There comes a time when you know you need to restart and regain control of your life. A time to seek freedom from the anxiety, addiction, and other issues that may be bringing you down. A time to heal and re-emerge as the real you. Villa Kalima is a holistic residential recovery program exclusively for women for individualized treatment. Villa Kalima offers proven clinical and holistic therapies for the mind, body, and spirit to assure sustainable recovery. Villa Kalima focuses on healing the cause, not temporarily masking symptoms. It's the only way to truly recover and find yourself again. Villa Kalima is located in a beautiful, peaceful, resort-like setting and is a licensed and accredited residential treatment center accepting a variety of health insurances. Start your healing and renewal today by calling Villa Kalima in La Costa, California at 760-814-8214. 760-814-8214.
Are you feeling stuck or in a holding pattern with your business or life and you're not doing the things you want or love? Then at some point, you're going to be faced with a decision. You'll either choose to keep living in your comfort zone and risk a life of mediocrity, or increase your courage, step into your power, and forge into the unknown, where everything new becomes possible. If you're truly ready to live masterfully, then you need Ken D. Foster's newest book, The Courage to Change Everything, Strategies and Wisdom to Transform Your Life One Day at a Time. This powerful but simple guide provides you with 365 days of life-transforming wisdom, profound questions, and action steps that will increase your strength and open the doors to success. Stop wondering why your business or life isn't working. The answers are available now. Imagine if you had more courage or another chance to start following your dreams. To pick up your copy of The Courage to Change Everything, visit thecouragetochangeeverything.com. That's thecouragetochangeeverything.com.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm interviewing JP Dallmann. JP is a man that is a contributor to Forbes. He's also a experienced financial service industry advisor. He's a leader in the community. He's been a banker for banks like the Royal Bank of Scotland. And we're talking a little bit about some of the ways that you can make your finances and you make better decisions and actually increase your wealth. So JP, real quick on cryptocurrencies. Is your firm or anybody investing in those, or where do you see that going in the marketplace?
But first of all, we're not. I had to be completely honest, and at times, with some of my friends tell me about their returns, I regret it. So it's never too late, they say, right? But I have, over the time, and it's interesting. This is one of those things. So maybe it wasn't on my notes to speak about, but two things that I've learned about crypto that made me think. So the one is about, don't go to what is shining all the time, right? Don't get basically, if it's not what you understand, it's fine not to do it, right? Because I just didn't feel comfortable. And I chose, not to learn about it. I had a limiting belief that said, that's too complicated. No, I'm not. I don't want to learn about it. And actually, I put my hand up and I say, I missed out. I missed out on making huge returns. So that's one thing that I had to say. But again, I concentrated on my lane and what I'm doing. And even recently, I was thinking about that, how important it is to be happy, with what your lane is, understanding your part, right? So I have one of my friends that he doesn't like real estate because he just doesn't want to deal with everything related to real estate. So he has very small allocation to real estate, right? And because everyone talks about real estate, right? All the time. It's the basis of any portfolio. And then in terms of where it's going, I like numbers and context, for context, of course, right? But I've learned the other day I was reading, crypto, and people talk about Bitcoin, but it's more than that. It's about $1 trillion right now in terms of, market and asset, and as an asset, let's call it asset class. But the whole market, so that people understand, is quoted to be about 300 trillion. So that's how small it is. But it's so like, even if I look on Forbes, funny enough, you mentioned at the ranking, in the top 10 articles in Forbes, is all crypto and Bitcoin. And so it's a very people are very, very attracted to it. Very, very interested, maybe because it has the word mine in it. mining. I don't know,
Oh,
but
yeah, maybe.
that
Well,
makes sense.
it's you've lived long enough. I've lived long enough to see the .com era. I've seen the as an investor, as a stockbroker, we were selling Microsoft way back when, and Apple and things like that. And there's my point is there's the next one coming along. Okay. And but what I heard you say is like, when you find a lane, you want to stick in your lane and really go deep in that lane instead of trying to go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And I think that creates that information overload. It also gives you an unclear message. Can you address that?
Yeah. Well, that's again something that I try to live, but I definitely I think I mentioned to one of the people in your team. We just to be able to help people. We launch a program called the Impact Leaders Program to help people, because that, if there's one thing that comes across all the time, is how people really struggle to communicate. First who they are, and then what the companies do. Even as investment managers, sometimes they struggle to communicate what the new product, especially in impact, right, and sustainable investing, what actually is doing. And it's quite a skill, something that you have to develop and understand to be able to get people to get into business with you, right, or to buy your products, or to invest in your funds, or to invest in your companies. And before I was applauding, because I see the message on your new book, and I think it's fantastic. It's you make it so clear, but I guess that is the couple of years of experience that you have to understand how to communicate a good message.
Well, what I like about when I was reading about Impact Leaders Program is that people, one of the benefits is that they become a magnet of the right to attract the right opportunities that will create an impact in their life. And I think that's there's a lot to be said for that. If we don't have the skill sets, the understanding, and the strategies and the tools to be able to really discern what the right choices are for ourselves, then we're scattered and are walking all over the place. So I like your message on that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'll say something else, on top of what you said. For me, it's about the impact, and we were talking just offline before, as you come to understand that there is something much bigger than you, and that really, as cliche sometimes as it sounds, we're on this earth for such a short period of time, that when you realize that the impact really is how you can impact others and others people's lives, and how you can help them, right? Then again, sounds cliche, but the profits are going to come. Obviously, you need to understand the practicalities of how to make things happen, how to run a business, how to communicate these days, how to run campaigns online, etc., etc. But at the essence, people talk about customer service. At the essence is how do we impact others, right? And I think that the main reason why I launched that program, which is kind of one on the side of what we do in terms of advisory and some introductions, and we are fundraising for a fund, and all these things, is because I feel I have the duty, the responsibility to help others, learn what, by the way, as I've realized over time, and maybe sometimes only less than 1% of the population of the world gets the benefit to learn, right? Because we get the chance to go to university, or to study, or to go to work with certain biggest companies in the world. But even us, after we learn and we've been trained and we are so educated, we struggle with certain parts of the practical parts of life. So that is what that is about. And I can tell you more if you want, but it's about there's a message behind as well, which is I believe that we're all diamonds, diamonds in the making. Or I talk about we are, some of us I joke about it, some of us are charcoal, but as people people that know a little bit about it, I don't know a lot, but when to create the diamond, it's a charcoal that it gets put under pressure, and that's the pressure that creates the beauty. But even if you are the most beautiful diamond, you still need to be polished. So I talk about that in terms of we're trying to create impact leaders, diamonds, that can actually impact the lives of others, while creating a profit, for the good use. By the way, for the good use, you cannot take the money away with you. So
Ooh. You caught me right in the middle of a sneeze.
Bless you. Sorry. Bless you.
All right. Well, this is an authentic and real show, and we, I like to just talk about real things. And, you're talking about people that, we have, that we all have potential within us. We have potential to polish up what's already there, and we have potential to actually transform, coal into diamonds, which are within us. And for me, it's, I always see it as kind of like a rust on the soul. Soul is brilliant, bright, and beautiful. And we've got the rust. What's the rust? It's our beliefs, our poor choices. It's our blame, shame, guilt, remorse, all that stuff that, our institutionalized thinking from maybe a parent or a teacher or something. It blocks this brilliance from coming forth. And you have a program, that Impact Leaders program, that really helps people to start to shine. And honestly, make better choices, better choices. Right?
Yeah. And what happens when you shine?
Well, when you shine, you have energy, you have power, you actually can see the unseeable, you can know the unknowable, you do things that nobody else can do because you have this power that's floating through you, that just comes through us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then obviously you attract, right? And that's why, the point about attracting opportunities is amazing. And one more point maybe to mention, which I talk about on, maybe I should do a little short book, but it's not long enough. Is these foundations, but you mentioned, the mistakes we make, as you start getting foundations, and it's never too late, to start reshuffling and getting aligned. And as you align and you get the foundations, you get the right information, you get the clear message, right? The opportunities, believe me, it's like, I cannot keep up right now in a way, and it's, because it's a true kind of alignment, right? Which then obviously gives you the visibility, and there is one more thing that perhaps we'll cover before. I don't know how much longer we have. But.
Well, we're just about out of time. I've got to actually take a really quick break, and we'll be right back. And then we'll do our final thoughts. So we'll be back in just a second.
Today, women in business are helping each other prosper like never before by overcoming stereotypes, networking together, and sharing essential resources. Since 1991, Women's Wisdom, the premier business networking organization for purpose-driven, soul-inspired entrepreneurs, has helped women grow their businesses and become the best version of themselves. Women's Wisdom hosts online events with celebrity speakers, best-selling authors, and business experts dedicated to helping you, the small business owner, expand your possibilities, build new relationships, and get the right referrals. Take your business to the next level and join Women's Wisdom at womenswisdom.net. That's womenswisdom.net.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm here with JP Dallmann. He is the CEO of ILA and Partners. He's on a mission to create profit and impact, advising executives and companies and working mainly with value-aligned investments. So, JP, we only got, like a minute and a half left. First of all, tell people how they can get a hold of you, and then I'd like to hear your closing thoughts.
Perfect. Basically, the easiest way right now is Instagram. I have to be honest. So it's interesting enough. The user is inspired by JP. Right? That's
Inspire or inspired?
Inspired.
Inspired by JP at Instagram. Okay, that's the best way to find JP Dallmann right now. And you can probably they just look up your name on Instagram too, or Inspired by JP?
I think so. Yeah. But that's the tag. But then obviously if you go there, you have a link to each one of my social medias. But if you just Google JP Dallmann, you'll get you'll get my LinkedIn, you get my board seats, you get my company, you get my podcast, which is Impact Leaders. So everything comes, it's pretty, just put JP Dallmann on Google and you'll find a few things.
That's awesome. And by the way, just let me mention, JP is the host of the renowned Impact Leaders podcast, which features some of the best investors in the world and leading individuals on sustainable and impact investments. So you want to check out his podcast too. JP, that's it. I'm out of time, man. I got to rock.
I have one quick one, which is fantastic. Womenwisdom.net, right? You played that just before. And my last point is about accountability. You have to be accountable and you have to be in a community. You have to surround yourself with, other amazing people, be it at home, be it at church, be in business, right? That is the only way that you will truly grow. So, be courageous, right? And speak up as well.
I love it, JP. Hey, listen, stay in the back studio when I'm going to close the show. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.